Hello, my friends. Good evening. I was supposed to be on a Zoom platform, the Zoom platform of Fertile Brains, and myself and Prasanna have been working. Prasanna, the great talented poet whom I call my brother, we have been working on the Zoom connection since a while, now for an hour and 15 minutes maybe, and there is some huge technical issue because of which I couldn't do Zoom at all from any of my phones, and even there is a technical issue with another phone, and but I thought I'll do a Facebook Live. We had scheduled this event, and it is lovely to be able to come and interact with friends. Hi Pooja. So this is basically a Fertile Brains solo poetry event for Prasanna, and happy Holi Pooja. Thank you for coming. And I was planning to read holy poem itself, so I hope that I can do that. I don't know, Prasanna, I don't know if he's here and he can watch me, or he can hear me, or I have two holy poems that I wanted to read, and yeah, thanks. So Prasanna is here, so I've already shared the fact that since an hour and 15 minutes we had been laboriously working on the Zoom thing, but the Zoom has just decided to go away. So I don't know, should I go ahead and just do it on Facebook, and then Prasanna can share and he can download, and the wonder person that he is, the wonder poet, he will also download and put it on Fertile Brains YouTube channel, and we can always do it again later. But I still have a problem, and the problem is that I was planning to read from this phone, so my two holy poems are now on that phone itself in the email. So how do I read them? And today is holy, and I'm just trying to think how to make it happen, right? And it's also here in Gmail, but I can't access it. What a pity. Let me just, these technical things sometimes can really put us off, but never mind. I will read them again another time. There were poems on two aspects of Holi, the great game of coloring, and sort of a love poem. Hi Manisha. She wants to join me on video. I don't know how to do that. Hello, my dear friend, my very senior colleague, sort of a mentor, Norris Preetham is watching. Big hello to you, my dear sir, Norris, and Manish Sinha ji. Hello and welcome. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the holy poems because I can't access them, and maybe I'll read them separately. Maybe another Facebook Live tomorrow or something like that. And for Fertile Brains another time. But just to bring the tempo back, and now that we are face to face, and here is the opportunity to present my poetry. And also, Prasanna has this very nice clause of why do I write, and I had been wanting to talk about this since a long time. Why do we write? It doesn't even pay us like a secure salary. It doesn't even get us big crowns. Yes, I have been fortunate enough to receive some awards, and the love of my readers and friends and fellow poets to an extent. Of course, there can be more. There can be more readers, there can be more friends, there can be more appreciation of poetry. I think we all feel it. So there are challenges as well as there are rewards. We have to just balance, and there are those days when one feels, oh my God, the industry is giving me a very hard time. This is what happened as soon as I reached Jaipur. I was talking heart to heart with my dear friend Shalini Yadav, about what a hard time industry can give you. And there are phases, Had I met her right after getting an award, probably I wouldn't have said that. But I was coming from sort of a difficult situation where, where I thought a talk show would be a talk show, but it turned out to be an open mic. So, those kind of things happen. Thing is that we have to just take it all in our stride. And, once you hold the pen, it feels wonderful. Not just because poetry is therapy or story writing is therapy, but because you're doing so much more. What more? I thought about this and I listed certain things. Yes, I will upload my poetry on wall, the 2 poems on Holi. I will read them tomorrow. Don't worry, Pooja, but thank you. Thank you for that thought and for that idea. Hello, sir. Thank you, sir. I'm very honored. Norris sir is saying, sheer pleasure watching you. Thank you. Since an hour after struggling with Zoom, but these things can happen. Okay, again, why do I write? So these are the things I wrote down. Number 1, why do I write? To capture, describe, outline, identify, and sometimes even define beauty and also the opposite of it, by which I don't just mean ugliness, but difficult terrains of human existence, places, spots from where beauty is slowly fading away. For example, so many forts we visit and we feel probably it's wonderful. It's such a proud piece of artifact still around, Can we not maybe do a little more to preserve it a little better? Can the surroundings not be a little nicer? As a poet, I feel like saying these things. Should I not say it? I think I should. I shouldn't fear or I shouldn't think, oh my God, my readers are not going to like it or the market will not reward me for this. Maybe I should just write a praise poem. But if I am a true and honest writer, I think I want to go ahead and even say those things. So, define beauty, define also the reasons why that beauty is being compromised and how it can be a little more beautiful. So, to conserve a rich heritage, even not so rich, past is past. It might be a monument of brutal torture by, say, a bad king. I mean, just for example, if you're visiting the concentration camps in Germany, you might still want to write about it because it is a piece of history. And I personally have had enough artistic persecution, like I keep saying, and, at the hands of somebody who happened to be German. This doesn't mean that, I am saying anything about that race, about that culture, about that language, about that country. Today, so many friends from Germany and so nice they are. I just happened to meet somebody German when I was in Bulgaria, Thomas Hubner, and he's such a good friend, and today he's been attacked in India. So I'm truly pained, I'm deeply pained, and I said I'm ashamed. We write to express such anger as well, I wrote a poem recently about almost being harassed and molested by, the cleaning, the security staff in train. And when I write my anthology, I will add paragraphs to it, stanzas to that poem that are even more sort of, worrying or disturbing. Because when I came back from the washroom, the talk that was happening or the environment that was there, it seemed so anti-single women and so hostile, as if I'd done something wrong. I mean, so we write to express all of these feelings of marginalization and all of these feelings of, trial, so to speak. Of course, we also write about our triumph and the triumph of the human race. But why just human race? The triumph of this whole, nature and Mother Earth We don't want the animals to be suffering. I just went for this Ranthambore safari and it was so nice, not just to see the tiger. Everybody is crazy about seeing the tiger, but it was so nice to even see the deer of so many kinds, and it was a real treat to see, two male deers, locked horns and fighting like this in a very musical way, almost like dandiya. I am going to write a poem, at least I'm going to try to capture the beauty, the music of that moment in a poetry, I also like writing about museums. I also like writing about, all kinds of things, Let me just go through all the points that I wrote so that I don't miss it, because this is what happens. I went to speak on Women's Day and I forgot to touch on the point of this body thing, the liberation of the woman's soul, in a way in which her body is not a taboo. This is around Women's Day. Tomorrow is Women's Day, and our dear friend, our dear German friend who lives in Italy, she is doing, and just then, she's doing a huge event honoring the women, in light of the Iran lynching. She's called it Wind in My Hair, You want to open your hair and you want to feel the breeze and you want to feel the freedom and you don't want shackles anymore. We all know that a lady was killed, she was lynched, she was whipped or, beaten to death in Iran just because a strand of her hair was showing outside of her burqa. So such things, wherever they happen, whenever they happen, they're going to be protested against. We're going to speak against it, against one individual incident of such brutal kind. And yes, I think it is already in the European Parliament and everywhere else. And again, kudos, hats off to Anjay for doing such a big thing. I am proud to have my poem exhibited there as well. Hello, my dear friend Anuja Mohan Pradhan sir. He is here. Warm welcome to you. We just did an event together. We've translated each other, and it was a beautiful, beautiful feeling. He speaks a rare language, a rare language from Orissa, and has very beautiful knowledge of other parts of Jharkhand and Madhya Pradesh. Working on projects of science. He's also a man of literature. So warm welcome to you. Wow, Malay Nirav sir is watching. Warm welcome to you, sir. Big namaste, प्रणाम आपको. आपको देखे तो मुझे लग रहा है कि वाव, ये तो मतलब बिल्कुल वाव वाला मोमेंट हो गया. Yes, thank you so much for coming. Thank you. Yeah. So just I'll quickly go through all the points that I have written down. That writing in this way, because it takes up all of these causes of human liberation, wherever the human soul is in shackles, literature speaks for it. So because of that, it establishes a dialogue with very many disciplines. It goes into the history of the place, it goes into the geography of the place. It also asks the question, why did this happen if something like that happened? Or why is something happening, slowly, sometimes invisibly. We talk about all difficult terrains, we talk about all beautiful places, we talk about places of power, we talk about places of impoverishment, Similarly, moments of power and moments of impoverishment. I might be being crowned today, the other day I might really be having a tough time. So we talk about all of these, and because we do that, we are, establishing a dialogue with psychology, sociology, history, geography, anthropology, geology, biology, and all other branches of arts and sciences. I love to write poetry on paintings, on musical instruments, on museums, on whatnot, anything that is moving and nice. By moving, I don't just mean like a butterfly flying, but by moving I mean that can move our souls, right? So, but above all, writing is about the expression of human feelings, emotions, experiences, abstract and intangible, along with coherent and dear. We write to fight for human rights. I've been talking about this, dignity and values everywhere, be it for the hut dweller, completely displaced by flood, or be it for a girl who has really been, molested, or be it for a group that has been sort of evicted, or be it for a community which is suffering discrimination, be it for a race, be it for a gender in a place, whatever. To critique absolutism and tyranny, very many reasons. Writing can become a movement, a campaign, an activist call. Writing is a form of resistance. Writing and reading are both therapies of sorts, but there is such a thing as artistic persecution, and Rushdie and Taslima Nasreen are not the only two people who are facing it. There are so many others who are facing it, and I am also one of them. I believe that, my story in States, the one that led to ultimately my loss of immigrant status, also started with a question, why don't you come and tell me your story? It seemed like a friendly question, wow, you're a writer. What bits of what you've written is about you, really. I mean, autofiction is autofiction, but, what's the real story? And it seemed like a very interesting question and a very friendly one. Anyways, so artistic persecution is just as big as, all the rewards and awards that we get. It's sometimes hard to identify, what forces are behind these persecutory efforts, but any right-wing party, any party that is communal and is provoking violence, is prone to persecuting its free voices. We have seen it. So many free voices were jailed and exiled, and writers have been exiled since time immemorial. There are many writers, but I can go on and on. Today is the day to also read my poems, and I had made some big preparations. I want to share them with you. I will just get some of the books that I have collected, and because just a minute. Very many books, but I first want to share this one, Prison Talkies. This is actually about my incarceration. I shouldn't say incarceration, I should just say detention, technically speaking, because, and there are many poems I have written that are about this sudden loss of status and being declared an illegal alien in my own sort of front porch, so to say. So maybe I'll just begin with some of the poems here, and then again, how difficult it was to restart, my PhD after this in a brand new country with, absolutely different living, conditions. So let me just read a short poem called Prison Weekend. Prison weekend is not really there, except that it's the weekend. The guards tell you there was a church meeting Friday evening. There is one Sunday morning. There are no calendars on prison walls, but there is a weekend with all the courts closed and law offices closed, and people with waiting files just waiting for 2 more days. So that's on the prison weekend. Hello Geeta Di, बहुत खुशी हो रही है आपको देख के. So nice to see you. Thank you for coming. And maybe I will just read another poem on I have poems on the prison doctor, I have poems on some of the inmates, and some of my poems on, just the feeling of being inside in a locked room, have been read earlier and they've really been loved and liked, so I'm thankful for that. I have poems on prison laundry. There is a poem on the girl from Colombia, Kim the businesswoman. You know, there were people who were illegally running the business. There were people who had overstayed. Anyways, I'll read another very short poem. I'm trying to read short ones. Prison Murmurs. Very faint sounds of people talking, not an escape. No wall breaks, just something very, very sinister. Like about the lawyers' numbers that did not work. Like about the lawyers' numbers that did not work, or lawyers that represented better and represented the rich, or lawyers that just knew people. So, you know, this is a poem about what a big business the law is, as well as, you know, other things like medicine in India, even abroad, but the law in states is really very powerful. We all know that it can turn things like really around. The question is it worth fighting? Sometimes it is not. Anyways, bigger questions. Another one, prison dangers. I had actually selected some other and I will read them as well. Prison dangers are many, always are. Being locked up in the prison of a foreign country, is it to have no control? So what if you lived here for years, your rights were taken away and more can be done? So, you know, these are some dark poems and also questioning ones. They are not just about hopelessness or defeat, but these are, I see them as poems that question the status quo or you know, the way power is exercised. I see them as that. So let us try and you know, get into that spirit about all things that have been sort of persecutory, right? That's the best way of looking at it, and that is also a very big part of writing. But I don't want to just you know, concentrate on that. I'll maybe read sort of a less dark poem from this collection and then move on to another one. It's called Wet Sounds of Rain, of typing late evening in the wet sound of rain. With the wet sound of rain, no love letters, no love letters, reports cut and dry, urgent reports of famine and drought to the lords of the land, pleading mercy, pleading relief, needing more typewriters, reports of bedroom politics, out of sync with time, more complicated than enactments of laws, eroding the rights of certain people, of typing in the wet sounds of rain, of just hearing it drizzle through the thick of leaves, the barks of leaves, rough on just plain, pure grass, on the soil underneath. So here is that, and there was another rain poem that I've been wanting to read. There is a poem on proving surveillance, but I'll leave that. There's another one called The Politics of Turning All Free Spaces into a Prison. I'll also leave that. Freedom is yours to attain. This also I have read earlier, so I'll leave that. There was another one on rain. Where is it? There's okay, I'll try this one. The morning rain. Divine to have woken up while it was still raining. The beautiful, inimitable sound of rain in the morning, in the beginning of summers, when it's still fresh green leaves, wet and dripping, outside my third floor window, and to have missed it all, in the morning rush, in the morning panic, in the morning anger, of not having the morning sickness, of not being pregnant, of not being allowed to try for it, of not being allowed the nearness of a man. So that's a very sort of a feminist poem, you can say. It's about the single status and the missing of the love life, and sort of talking about addressing all the things that can destroy it. I think I have read enough from this one, and I should quickly move. Yeah, so here I have found it. The Rain Outside, the last poem from this one. Thank you. Thank you so much, my dear friends. Thank you, Prasanna ji. Thank you, my friend Askar Ali Khan. And thank you so much, Renu ma'am. Thank you. And thank you, Rupali ma'am. Thank you for inviting my poem. And this is what I wanted to message to you, and I was thinking of doing it after this, which I will do. I need just one more day from you to send my new poem. Hello, hello, Ras Bihari Pandey ji. The Rain Outside. Can you hear me okay, Prasanna ji? Or should I speak louder? Prasanna Bhatta sir, thank you so much. Sweet welcome. Sweet personality, excellent expression of feelings and poetry. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you liked it. It was really from my heart, so to say, because it was really honest. That is how I feel. That's what I believe in. So now the rain outside. The rain outside is very well, although one would have liked a walk. The rain outside is very well, although one would have liked a walk. Right now, a walk outside, outdoors, and then there is a message of rain, a taunting message of payments unceasing, mostly to a decaying worker, decaying with discrimination. It's raining with a smile, means the pay is more than deserved. It's raining thus becomes an opinionated observation, a beautiful weather phenomenon turned into a code of war, yet another code of war, a merciless code of war. What's really sad is that it's a war that no one needs. What people need is rain. In many, many drought-affected regions, and many regions that are being turned into drought-prone regions with similar wars of meaningless nature. Yeah, so I have just played around a little with this whole concept, the double meaning, the metaphor of it's raining outside or it's raining cats and dogs. I mean, it's generally said cats and dogs for the rain, but sometimes it's raining as in it's raining money, it's raining good things are raining for you, and do you really deserve it, and to put a question mark. So playing with language here. Now the next one, I got all of these books in which I have my poems published, and I collected them, and so that I can read a little. And this one I'm especially proud of. This is a very new one. There are other new ones, the Purusha anthology done by Arindam sir, and the anthology on the mythological women's done by Meenakshi Mohan ma'am, and other ones. But this one is done by Seema Jan ma'am. She has edited it, and this is from the Sahitya Academy. So maybe I will just start from this one. I will read a poem quickly. I'll read quickly a couple more poems, and I think that it will be time, because the slot is only for 30 minutes. Prasanna can give me 5 more minutes. So this one is called The Desire to Move People So Much. It's again about this autocracy of power and how it can work. The desire to move people so much according to one's whims and fancies should be a politics of the gone era. But people were being made crazy with it, just with the idea of everything, every moment being temporary, of being pushed so far away from that feeling of being settled, of being pushed so far away from that feeling of being settled even for a while, so as to have your papers in order, for your thoughts to grow roots, for imaginary plants to bloom that could be watered, for the novels to progress and the characters to take visible shape and roam the apartment so as to come back and bump into them. For characters to be so alive, they too will need rest and stability, that they too will refuse from moving, that they will have an actual voice and will speak against the tyranny of being moved at God knows whose will, but the possibility of it any and every moment. It's simply not letting these characters come alive. So this is from Vibrant Voices. I think Rupali Man is also in this collection. And now I will read a poem, again similar sort of a tempo and similar sort of a content of this poem. It's called The Politics of Restarting. The politics of restarting, rather the conditions of it, because no one should have to restart like this. The study they have dreamt of all their lives, their great big research project made up of digging into the archives and the books before that, the lovely, outworldly books from the library with the hardcover, the old ones looking sacred almost, but maybe not so lovely. As you read between the arguments and get to the settling of finances in all colonial history, but even not being able to focus on that, no one should have to restart like this, calling attorneys at home, sending details of robbed rights in a hasty, shocking divorce, details going back into the years of how and when you first met your husband, details that included all of our ancestry. Details that included all of our ancestry, involving even our grandfathers, grandmothers, long lost relations, all the office corruption and ways of dealing with it, calling attorneys in different places and finding out about one's stolen rights. While working with a similar set of people is an extremely toll-taking way of restarting, simply letting go, forgetting your pain, while being in it is impossible, and there cannot be a conference debating the best way of cure. All the debate dissect is your life. They increase pain, they increase problems. There can be no conference looking for cure unless it is a law conference discussing how best to punish the offenders. Conferences have a history of inflicting brutal talk on me. I think we are, there's a thing called thank you. Thank you, friends, for your kind comments and your encouragement and for being there. Hi Anupam, so nice to see you. It's amazing to meet you. बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है आपको मिलके, आपको यहाँ देख के. बड़ी खुशी की बात है मेरे लिए कि आप आई हैं. अनुपम की बहुत शानदार चर्चित हो रही किताब आई है, मैंने गढ़ा है अपना पुरुष. बधाई उसको. हम सब उसको भी महसूस कर रहे हैं ना. We want a man the way we want a man. We don't just want something imposed on us. So big feminist causes that women are fighting for. This is a book on nostalgia done by Ratan Ghoshji. There is another one, a magazine, The Mirror of Time, in which I have a poem. But I think that maybe I'll just, this has the poem which is very, very popular on YouTube, Just Names. And maybe I'll read a little bit from this, or maybe I can read a little bit from Corona. Maybe I'll read two more and that should be it. Just names of places, people, streets, buildings, avenues, pathways in that country left behind, where every single turn seems to tell a story, mine and yours. Strangers' stories, strange stories, where every name means something, and suddenly, with that click, seems to fit into the moment of reaching out, of connecting with faraway places, distant lines, but confining too, very, very confining, like that click bringing back everything from the moment, a barrage of memories, heated, charged up, not to be solved whatsoever. So here was that, and maybe I'll finish with one short Corona poem from this collection put together by Ms Pankhuri. Very short poem, and I want to, before I finish and say good night, I just want to share a couple more books. There's a book on the womanhood put together by Brajesh Gupta ji, and this also has a poem on, so to say, the suffering of a wife in a way, but a cause that comes close to a woman's heart, to women's heart. It's a very common problem, and this is a magazine put together by Authors Press and edited by our great friend Janatha Ratish. So there's a Corona poem in there as well. I will read a short Corona poem from this book edited by Ms Pankhuri, May Love Heal the World, and that should be it. It's called Dear Corona. It's time you went back to the holy cave you came from, don't you think, dear Corona? Living in our lungs and killing us mortal humans might annihilate you. Our scientists across the borders are finding you kill a simple vaccine. Win we will over you, and we did it, right? Win we will over you anyways. Why don't you call a truce and reduce the death rates? Dear Corona, it's a cave you came from, right? Tell us, dear Corona. So it's asking Corona about its origins. I hope you liked it. Thank you so much for being there, for joining me, and I hope that we will continue to meet like this here on Zoom, on YouTube. Thank you, Fertile Brains. Thank you, my dear friend Prasanna ji, and good night to all my great and dear friends. Thank you so much. Thank you, Pooja. Thank you, Anuja Mohan Pradhan ji. Thank you, Anupam. Thank you, everybody who came. Ras Bihari Pandey ji, thank you, and see you later. Priyadarshini, my dear friend and student, and a poetess as well. So nice to see you. Thank you. Keki Krishna, thank you. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you, my friends. I hope you liked the poems. Thanks. Bye. See you later.